Hey guys, I have a couple videos for you guys today. Um, I have filmed a lot of videos in the last like 2 weeks, but they all, like I just went back and watched a few of them and the lighting was terrible. So I figured I would refilm some of them with good lighting, or at least mostly good lighting. And the first one is going to be a tag. I saw this tag over at Sarah Churchill's channel. I will link her channel down below. I am not subscribed to the creator of the tag, but I actually did use her numbers, which I'll explain in a minute, but I used her numbers for this video, but I don't know her username. So unfortunately I can't link her channel down below, but just know that I was not the creator of this tag. This is called the Shelves of Fate-ish book tag, and basically I am given a bunch of numbers. It's two numbers, kind of like the On My Shelf tag, where it's a shelf number and a book number, and each one of those corresponds to something to do with fate, like the love of your life or who your best friend is going to be, that kind of stuff. And I just thought this sounded really cute. So I did it, but I did not. I originally was going to try to look at my shelves and record that, but I would have to take you around my room, so I just kind of took the books off the shelf before the video. I promise I didn't cheat. I did have to tweak one or two of the numbers, which I'll explain, but anyway, let's get started. Okay, so the first one is who the love of your life is going to be, and this was your fifth book on your third shelf, which for me was Dream of Orchids by Phyllis A. Whitney. So I guess the love of my life is going to be Marcus O'Neill, which I'm okay with because I really liked his character, and I know this is kind of a weird cover, but when I first read it, this was not the cover, so I kind of, this was not what he looked like in my head, but yeah, so I thought his character was awesome, so I really wouldn't mind that. So he is the love of my life. And then the next one is Who Will Make Your Life Hell, and it was the sixth book on the sixth shelf. However, that shelf for me was all of my coffee table art kind of books, so, and I'm sorry about the planes, they're always going crazy, but anyway, so I figured it ended up being like a Renaissance book, and I was like, this probably won't work, so I switched that number to the seventh book on the seventh shelf, and that ended up being the Jane Austen Book Club by Karen Joy Fowler. I have yet to read this book. I'm very excited to read it because I really liked the film. But if the characters in the book are anything like they are in the film, I feel like the character who would make my life hell would be, I think her name is Prudy. She was the French teacher played by Emily Blunt in the film. And in the film, I don't know if it's the same in the book again, but in the film, she is going through a rough patch in her marriage, and so that makes her very unhappy, which makes her take her unhappiness out on other people. So she's always kind of snapping at people, and she kind of acts like she's the only smart person in the room all the time. So she would definitely bother me. So yeah, I guess she would be the one to make my life hell. And then the next one is Who is Your Best Friend Going to Be? And that is the first book on the first shelf, which ended up, for me, being the collector's edition of Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. Of the two of them, I would probably want Park to be my best friend because of these two characters, he was definitely my favorite. I really enjoyed both of their characters, but Park, just, I don't know, he was so endearing to me, and I don't even really know why, but I really liked him, so I would enjoy having him for a best friend. The next one is I think it was the third book on the eighth shelf, which again I had to tweak because that ended up being, what the question was is it would end up being the author who writes your life story, and that third book for me was The Notebooks of Leonardo da Vinci, and since Da Vinci lived during the Renaissance and I live in the 2000s, that would not work. And so I went one book down, and that ended up being P.G. Wodehouse, which also would not work. So I went one more book down, and that was Birdsong by Sebastian Faulks. So Sebastian Faulks would be the author to write my life story, which I would be okay with because he has won awards for his writing. I think he won Author of the Year for Birdsong in '95, I think. So yeah, I totally wouldn't mind an award-winning author writing my life story. And I haven't actually read this yet, so I don't know how good his writing is, but I assume it's good if he's won awards for it, and I also know that I really like this story based on how much I liked the miniseries. So, yeah. And next up is, this book would end up being the title of your lifelong story, and it was the 8th book on the 3rd shelf, and that for me was 13 Little Blue Envelopes. Which this would be a good title for my lifelong story, because I know that when I saw this in the bookstore, the title is what caught my eye, and I was really intrigued by it even before I looked at the synopsis, so I would hope that people would feel the same way about my biography if this was the title. So, yeah, good title. And then last is the book that talks about the circumstances in which you would die, and it was the last book on the lowest shelf, or no, I think it was the 4th book on the lowest shelf, which I have 4 lowest shelves because I have 4 shelves that are floor level, and so I just counted all the way to the last one. And that book for me was Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I have not read this book yet, so I do not know the circumstances in which I would die, but I've heard that this book is amazing, so hopefully those circumstances would be pretty epic. Unfortunately, it says that this book is set in the year 2044, which means I would only be 54 when I died, which kind of stinks. I would like to live much longer than 54, but I don't know. So yeah, those are apparently the circumstances in which I would die. But don't tell me in the comments what that would be because I haven't read this yet, so I don't want spoilers for this actual book. Okay, so that's the tag. Again, I did not create it, but I will link Sarah's channel down below because she's who I first saw it from. And thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to do this tag. Again, I did not create it, so it's free for anyone to do. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.